Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Better Than Food Book Reviews. I'm your host, Clifford Lee Sargent. Great to see you as always. Hope you're doing well. Get that coffee. Today is another collaboration featuring my friend and fellow book enthusiast R.C. Waldun, wherein we discuss 5 books each that we are interested in reading. 10 books in total. This was an idea pitched by our mutual patron Ed Fang. So thanks a bunch, Ed. Really appreciate it. So let's get into it. Robin?
Good evening, Cliff. Thanks for having me once again. And here are 5 books out of my never-ending list of books that I want to read. And also, Cliff, thank you for corrupting my 20s with some of your recommendations, because they're pretty damn awesome.
Nah, you were well on your way, man. But you're welcome. Corrupting the youth. I put some hemlock in my coffee.
The first book on the list I've pulled straight off of Cliff's shelf.
Thief.
And this one is Georges Bataille's Story of the Eye. Cliff has a review of this book on his channel, so if you want to know what the book is about, be sure to check out Cliff's review of the book before diving in, because this book is, The first line made me jump. Before grabbing a physical copy, I had a Kindle edition of the book, and what happened was, I was just like, if the first line can make me jump, I'm better off getting the physical copy. So this one right here is definitely on the top of my list. After I finish my current read, this is going to be the next one.
Oh man, just wait till you get to page 2. No, really. Well, I guess I'll start this off with something I've been meaning to get to for quite some time. This is Hellfire by Nick Tosches. He passed away last year, 2019, in October, I think. And Hellfire is a biography of the musician Jerry Lee Lewis, a famous rock and roll musician. You know, I'm sure you already know that was a pretty strange life that he had. I think Rolling Stone said this was the greatest rock and roll biography ever written, so I can't wait to get to it. Nick Tosches was an East Coast writer, kind of hard-boiled author from Jersey, who wrote kind of gritty, dark fiction and biographies. He was also a rock and roll aficionado. He was a pretty cool guy. I almost got to see him at this Soho cigar bar in New York that he frequented, and he'd been in that day, but I missed him by a few hours. So I deleted a terrible review of his biography, Dino, of Dean Martin. It's an amazing book, and it completely deserves a re-review, so maybe that'll be coming as well. But yeah, looking forward to that one. Back to you, RC.
Now, there are 2 kinds of books in the world. One kind is kind of like the fiction that you read for fun, like really exciting stuff, like Hunter S. Thompson or something, which we will get to in a second. But there's another category of books which belong to this entire, the Western canon, which is kind of like the stuff that you should have read for school. So to add to my understanding of literary modernism, here is Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway. So from what I've gathered, literary modernism has more of an emphasis on the experience of writing, or like, the experience of going through the streets, the experience of ruminating over certain thoughts, and the experiences of, for example, buying a cup of coffee first thing in the morning. Instead of putting a lot of attention to story, experience is what matters to literary modernism. I haven't read much of Virginia Woolf's works, but I'm really, really looking forward to, diving into this one, because I've read a bit of Joyce here and there, and read a bit of like other stuff here and there, but I really need to complete my understanding of this whole modernism business. And this one's definitely on my list.
All right, next up is Leonora Carrington's The Hearing Trumpet. This was recently sent to me by NYRB. I'm kind of partially sponsored by them. They send me free books from time to time. Great folks. But Carrington I'd heard about a while ago. She was a British Mexican surrealist painter. The Goodreads description of this said it was the occult twin to Alice in Wonderland. It's about a 92-year-old woman who is given a hearing trumpet, which is one of those antiquated hearing aids, and subsequently learns that her family is trying to commit her to an institution. Dark magical realism. It sounds right up my alley. Can't wait. Carrington herself had what sounds like an incredible and tragic life, and herself was institutionalized in Spain around the time of World War II. Both her life story and the novel sound very interesting, so looking forward to learning more.
Have you ever seen one of those books when you walk into a bookstore, you're just like, yes, I have to get that book? Maybe it's like the color of the cover, or maybe it's like, the way the spine glowed against other books. But this one, it had all the elements that I was looking for. It had a bright cover. The spine was just like the Hunter S. Thompson. You just can't ignore Hunter S. Thompson on the shelf. And of course, the illustrations. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. This is definitely on my list. And also Cliff, conveniently, has a review on his channel about this book. So if you wanna dive in without watching the review, that's basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to dive into this book without watching the review, but I feel like this is going to be like a trippy ride. Hunter S. Thompson is the one that invented a highly personalized style of journalism called gonzo journalism. From the first line of the book, I was already just like so invested in a story that I'm just kind of like, I have to read the rest of it. But alas, there's so many books on my list, I'm just like, I need to put this off. The best way to describe this one is that like it's a meal that you know that you'll enjoy, but you keep putting it off because you know you will definitely enjoy it. So at the end of the day, you don't end up eating the thing, and it ends up in a garbage bag. Which is why I'm going to get through all the other books as quickly as possible in order to get to this one.
I don't mean to be the peanut gallery over here, but that is going to be one of the best books you'll ever read. Just a really quick note, if you are enjoying this video, if you could please hit the thumbs up. It helps people find these awesome books, which change lives, and we'd really appreciate it. Thank you. All right, up next, Archipelago Books is another kind of sponsor of the show, and they've been very kind to send me a couple books. One of them was Occupation Journal by Jean Giano, which is on the shelf. And the other one they sent recently was this one, Saltwater, by the Catalan author Jose Pla. And it's just a beautiful book. I'm really excited to dive in. It's kind of a pun. Sounds like nautical themed fiction, often with descriptions of food. It reminded me just slightly of Henry Miller's stuff when I read an excerpt, but that could be a totally wrong impression, I'm not sure, but I'm really looking forward to reading it. I've never read Jose Pla, and I don't know if I've read any Catalan authors, so that might actually be a first for me. I have a feeling it's going to be good.
Next one, bit of a funnier one. David Sedaris' Meet Talk Pretty One Day, the essay collection. So from what I've gathered, Sedaris is from Portland. So, Cliff, do you know this guy?
Yeah. I mean, not personally, but I've read him. I'm not a fan yet, I guess I should say. But my wife loves him and swears by the smoking essay from this one, When You're Engulfed in Flames, which I have here. Yeah. When You Are Engulfed in Flames. Him and Palahniuk were like the big ones here in town when I was about your age, about a decade ago. Still are, I'm sure. But they were like Pal's books, front and center displays all the time. Very popular here, very well known.
So I've read a few of his essays from his larger collection, The Best of Me. And Sedaris really has a gift for turning the ordinary into something really witty and really funny. There's a sense of detachment from experience, and there's that kind of like cynical humor. But in some instances, the stories can do a complete 180 and, descend into something extremely sad and extremely sentimental. The mediating between the two worlds. The world of the funny, the world of the absurd, and the world of just like, real human experiences and real human emotions. That's what Sedaris did really well, from what I've read of him so far. This is the kind of book that I'll read on a toilet or like 10 minutes before I go to bed, because the pieces are really short. It's just something to lighten up the day. So I will definitely read this one alongside, all the other books that I'll tackle. So if you want a good laugh, if you want short pieces here and there, Sedaris is your man for funny stuff.
Yet another sponsor of mine, New Directions. I love New Directions. Books that they have published have had a big impact on me in the past. But this one I picked up on my own. This is No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai. Dazai was a Japanese author who tragically drowned himself in a river. And this book sounds like a story kind of around the idea of Japanese traditions being wiped out by Western values. He was an influence on Mishima, I think it's speculated, as Mishima himself was concerned with that theme. I remember reading a piece from John Nathan's Mishima biography, wherein Mishima and some other, they're either students or friends of his or something, or other writers, once went to Dazai's house, and he's sitting there, I think he's getting drunk or something, and the writers and Mishima are sitting there listening to him, and amidst his fawning peers, Mishima had the gall to say something like, "I detest your writing." And Dazai quietly replied, "And yet you're still here." It was something like that. I'm sure I'm not getting it totally right, but yeah, I think about that every time I see that book. Interestingly enough, they both ended up committing suicide, but in very different ways.
And the last book on my list is going to be Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. I've read half of The Road, and I have to be honest, I didn't really like it that much. McCarthy's prose is known to be simple and direct and very much, minimalistic. But I think for The Road, because it's so sparse and minimalistic, the story wasn't exactly that immersive. I couldn't really feel like the dread and like the depressed mood of the entire scene. I couldn't really feel, the man and his son's emotions. So that book didn't exactly interest me enough for me to finish it. But I really don't know what to expect from Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian. Many people have said that this is one of his masterpieces. So I'm really going to dive into this one. And Cliff said, this book is going to change your life.
It's going to change your life.
For me, anything with the ring of it's going to change your life, I'm going to read them. From the blurb, it said this is a story to happen through the hostile landscape of the Texas-Mexico border about a kid, a 14-year-old, who is quickly swept into the restless tide of blood. Already that sounds really damn interesting.
My job here is done.
And I really don't know what to expect from the judge. Apparently he's a badass. I'm going to have to read it to find out.
He's, I just call him the pure immortal albino manifestation of all mankind's inner evil. This last one I've had on my list for quite some time. The Man Without Qualities by Robert Musil, an Austrian author. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's about an ex-soldier in Vienna who is witnessing the downfall of the Austro-Hungarian monarchy. And it sounded right up my alley. There are 2 volumes, but it's also, I believe, an unfinished novel. The Man Without Qualities is without doubt the greatest writing, ranking with the finest our epoch has to offer, said Thomas Mann. I'm very interested in that period in history, so I'm looking forward to reading it. Also, I don't have it yet, but I believe a patron is sending me Bottom's Dream by Arno Schmidt, which Chris from Leaf by Leaf also told me about recently. He actually showed it to me. It's an enormous, enormous book. I highly suggest you check it out. I don't even know how to describe it. It looks completely bizarre, but I'm looking forward to it.
So anyway, those are the 5 books that are on my list, which I will dig through eventually. If you want more videos from a literary nutcase who's trying to figure life out, trying to figure out what is life, what is literature, and how do we go about developing an interest in literature in the 21st century. My channel is all about self-discovery, all about discovering what you like to read, discovering what it means to read well. And I look forward to chatting with you all about books, about life, about this entire process of growing up. Anyway, Cliff, thanks for having me once again.
Pleasure's mine. Thanks for stopping by, man.
And for the rest of you, enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the rest of your night, and be sure to carry a book with you wherever you go. That is one of the best ways for you to finish all the books on your list. And trust me, that is the list that will never end, because reading and learning, it's a journey that never ends.
Till you're dead! Die reading. You can follow Robin's channel and Instagram by following the links in the description below, or type in RC Waldun into the search bar on YouTube, should come up immediately. You can also follow my Instagram if you like, but no pressure. And whoever wins, feel free to choose whichever book you'd like, and I'll send it to you along with some coffee. For those of you who are new, I take all the patrons on Patreon who have donated $5 or more per video to the show, and I place their names in this mason jar. I pull out a name for every review I do, and whoever's name I pull out, I send them a hard copy of the book I'm reviewing, plus a bag of coffee, roasted by yours truly usually, but lately, roasted by one of the wonderful roasters here in Portland, Oregon, because it's good to help support small business during a pandemic. So, and the coffee is delicious. So, if you would like to get in on that, you can head over to patreon.com/booksarbetterthanfood, or click on the link below and donate $5 or more per video to the show. I sincerely appreciate it. $1 more will get you access to the patron-only reviews, the Discord channel, plus the Better Than Friday newsletter, which I send out every Friday, which is just a list of 5 different things I'm interested in at any given time. Could be books in the pipeline, music, movies, articles, changes week to week. If you think we have similar taste, I think you'll really get a lot of value out of that. And also, I just want to hype that Discord because it's really awesome. The folks in there who are posting recommendations and sharing stuff it's gold. It's serious gold. And I think that's all I've got. All right, that's my spiel. Thank you very much to all the patrons and best of luck. Okay, here we go. Jonathan T. Thanks so much, Jonathan. Really appreciate it. You're going to receive whichever book you'd like, plus some delicious coffee. Hope you enjoy. Also, for patrons only on Patreon, I'm going to post my video for books to be read in 2021. Also, all of the links from the books mentioned are below, if you'd be so kind. If you use any of those links to buy anything at all, it helps support Better Than Food, and I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you. Robin, great to see you as always. Thank you for stopping by. All of you out there, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, take care of yourselves, have a great night. Talk to you soon.